Hi everyone. So welcome to day 12. Day 11 we have started working on a development on front end. And what we are building? We were building one of the application of social media, and the technology we choose was Vue.js, a JavaScript framework. We are building a single page application. So we have started the front end development. So let's add this as a in progress. So what we see yesterday, we faced an issue. What the issue was? That was issue was from the tailwind. That tailwind component was not running. So let's see. We have started working with the creating components. So it's in the progress. And second thing about the views, where the building full functional website should be there, which contain multiple views, right? So these are the different views page we will make. So we are building a sidebar. So we looked at that we faced issue with Tailwind CSS component. So Tailwind is nothing but a simple JavaScript framework or CSS framework that can be used as a class to define a styling itself. And you can change a bit and it can become more better. And let's say you want to add more styling than that. Even you can add a top of styling by your own code. So we are using that so that we have to use less commands. So let's go back to the code and let you know how it get resolved. So first thing what I did, I uninstalled the Tailwind CSS, this command. Then I run this install command again, and then this is the Tailwind component, and the post CSS requires to add the files for the configurations and auto prefixer set the prefixes. And then I initiated that in our file. So that created the post css config.js. You can see that, and tailwind config.js. And finally, it worked. So let's start the project. So how to run that? We use npm run dev. So you can see the project starting. So let's start and see how it is look like. So reoptimizing because file has changed. So let's log file has changed. So let's do this. Npm install. So that it can rebuild everything, and then we can run this. Let's refresh this page. So it's loading, right? By the time, we were talking about the router part. So by the time we will look, nothing is there, right? Nothing is there on the component. So we talked yesterday. We also talk about the routing part. So what the different route contains, your domain name, subdomain name, then what are different positions you have, and then you write in a slashes format. So for that, we create a folder router in which we write a index.js. So what does it contain? It contains different routes. How to create that? The first thing is we have to import the routing component from Vue router. So you can install that packages if you don't have, and then you can add that. So you can see this is a Vue router. I have imported this and I imported create router. So that create the router function, and that can help you route to one pages to another pages, or say one views to another view, and create web history. So it tracks record of which gone before that, which goes after that. So let's say you click the in browser, you click the left button, back button, or forward button. It tracks record of that thing, and there's a list or object in which you stores the path, the component, in a format of key value pairs. And let's say you have to add new, so we will write a comma, and then again we will write something similar. So it works like that. So I haven't built another thing, so let's keep it right way. And Now we create that router as this, and we set this, and we export this, and then we import in the application.py, and we set it like this way, a simple way. That's all. So now what the thing we can see in the router? So router we have view as home.view. So we have to add home.view in the views. We have added that, there is nothing. So it's displaying nothing. So let's suppose I want to add a sidebar component. And we saw how to do that. So what to do? We have to import that. Import sidebar from, you can write at the rate or even dot. Let's suppose I write dot, it will work. Components slash, you can see it is here. So dot means you are in the src, so it will define as src. Then you go to component, so you write components, then you write the sidebar where it is lying, dot view. That's all. You can see it is similar, right? It is similar code. So we have imported that, and what's there in this file? Nothing. Just added nothing. We have created a sidebar component from the tailwind. We looked into it. Like you can see, it's a we have added a width of 64, height screen. So height is defined as the screen size, and then we can see that background as a gray color and all sort of those things. So let's see how it does it look, and then we can change accordingly. So let's restart it, and we will also solve the problem. If updates, it is not getting updated in the browser. So it's taking time to load, and by the time let's it showed nothing. I guess home is not saved. So let's check. We will also check that, but let me restart because we have saved these things and we have added that. So let's refresh it. Okay, it's not taking dots, so let's write at the rate. Components. Components. So let me check back to this. It's from dot slash components import sidebar from dot components slash sidebar dot view. So it's the same. Oh, so we are inside views. So it must be dot slash or double dot slash components can see these three things are there. Now it has been uploaded. So what happens that double dot means you are going just above the folder. So we are in the views. Now we go to SRC. So now in the component, let's look at the side view, and we can see these things are displaying there, but not as what we expected. So let's suppose uh, we will work for the flex only. Display should be flex. Background should be linear gradient to bottom, like this way. And that too for we will choose a color from here, right? Let's wait for a few minutes. Yeah, now we get the color. So let's look into this. So the color codes are this. And now we can see it is working, but not as usual. So let's see. Let's look for something error of that. Tailwind imported, but not visible. In where? View.js. We will use the common method. So now we have to write something like this. So we didn't find anything. So let's look this. So we have to write this. Let's try this. So yeah, it is now visible somewhere. And let's get back to Sidebar, and now let's remove this, and let's see how it's look. So it's visible like this one. This is a navbar setting. So let's get back to the Tailwind CSS and let's look. We were this using this. So let's try this. Or copy this and paste it here in a format such that it could be visible better for everyone. Let's see if it's inside a div. I'm just setting it some in a way that anyone can read. Now every A should be inside that. So we have updated this. So now it's working. So let's check. Side view is there, right? Now we have to, based on our setting, we have to add our components or add our styling. So let's say it's a sidebar basic users and class, nothing like that. What we want bg dash background with this, or let's check linear gradient tailwind css class. So we can see background gradient to t, right? Background gradient to b bottom. Like it is written from hashtag. We have selected the color component. So this to where it was. Yeah, it's here, the second component. If it's the second component, so again to hashtag v, this there must be a copied first component, that is this. So let's see this. And also let's we have added this, let's see auto reload of view when saved. I also don't know this, so I am adding this. So let's check this. It says that we have to check HMR true in the white config. So we are in the white config, and there is nothing like that in the default config. So let's add it. So let's restart it. And let's name it as a sidebar itself. Let's say we did this for the time being. And background, also we will check these things, why it is giving warnings and what does these warnings mean. So check, we will check this. So we will read about this. So it's a content that plugins here where content is there. So let's get back to that, and we need to check in the tailwind config file. So there's a tailwind config file. Yes, nothing is there. So now let's check the browser. So now it's looking like this, right? The whole component is like looking like this, and in the topmost, it's the header which has something like this. What it's written a button which has written close. So where it's written close, this one. So we don't want this button. So let's remove this. And A is brand. So what does tag A? Tag A is the anchor tag, which is used to add a link or something. So by the time we just require this thing, header. And in header, let's have a content and let's rename it as social connect. But the content of this should be text align center, align items center, still that is not working. So timing, let's do this. Restart, we have to restart it.
बेटा कहता है कि अपनी जरूरत से ज्यादा कुछ नहीं जोड़ना चाहिए.
So we can see Socio Connect. Now let's check something of Tailwind CSS. Class for text align and align items. So just text left. So there should not be text aligned. So it's text center. And item center, not align item center. So these two. Font bold. Let's say we again. So similarly in the body there is a nav bar with every link. We remove this. There's the three thing, right? And where we what we want, these things should be from the bottom part, not at the top but from the bottom. So we can see what a different thing has changed. So let's refresh it. Let's stop it and add some these things and then restart the server so that we cannot see these things and we can see only this thing. So let's get back to this to have an idea. So we get this thing, but it is not in the center, nothing. So let's check, get back to that STY item center, gap this. Or let's suppose uh, we want to have a sidebar. And first of all, let's remove this. We are not making a mobile application or something, so that do not require. And we will be using this sidebar as a component. Now in this, I can see the thing is visible, but not as usual. Text is black. Font medium. So still it doesn't work. So now we have we know how to make these things works in the later stage. First, uh, let's do more things. So let's say we want to build another view of sign in or say login or sign up. So let's make sign in dot view. What should it look like? Again, it should have a script setup. So it's giving me too much confusion. Edit setting. Text editor, default formatter. Features. disable completion. So we don't want to do the code at all from those things. So we will have template. We will have style, scope. So we will get back to those things again tomorrow. But by the time we will also start the login page or sign in page. So what does this template contain? So first, this template has a background color. We have a div. Class equals to body h full. That is enough. And now let's say for body, what the color we have choose. So let's get back to this and check for the first thing, first page. Here we are this part filled with this. So let's copy this color so that we can have this color. And in this body, we want a div where the content is loaded. So let's write that as class equals to content. So now it has div and this content thing how it should be visible, we will look into it. So let's say first thing we want to have height. Height should be of 90% of the screen. Width auto. Now padding 0 rem, margin auto. So these are things, and now this has two parts. So now let's divide it into two components, two half. So first half, so it requires a container. So what we do, we div class equals to container. We are closing this. In this container there is one class which has row. Now for column, class equals to MD6. So it's divided into 12 chunks. So we are selecting the first half at slash diff, and then we select the second half. Two components. So now this, what should be there? There should be image, src, let's again search this image. So okay, there was an image in Socio Connect. So we will do this again. Go to images. We will look for that image. So this was the image. So let's copy image address and then paste it in the code in the src. And for image, we will write css. So HEI height equals to, so let's say 600 px. We are just making for this purpose. You can change many things. Width equals to 400 px for now, so that we can see this thing. And in the second half, it contains a form. Class equals to login form. So let's say we create a view for this, and now we create a route for this. So again, for route, we have some path we have to define again. Path colon, let's suppose login. Then for component, we define an arrow function. Import double dot, again similar thing, double dot slash views slash sign in dot view. It is ready. So now let's get back to this and write slash login. Or let's restart it to see the changes. Here it should be. login. But before container, there must be a h1 tag that is stating our application name, social connect. So now you can see element is missing. So which element is missing? The div tag. So let me import ref from view. Okay, that was the error. So now we can see login is there. There should be must be here, but it is showing here. Sure, connect is there. This is there. Fine. So instead of that, let's say we want instead of body, we want color of the template should be this. So we have to save it and restart it. So we will save it. First we will clear the terminal and then restart it. So let's see the inspector window. Or let me add here. It's a app dot has app. Its style should be like this and background color is Windows V, this color. Now let's see social media, this where which should also be full. And this, the color of this effect is a radial gradient. Radial gradient with stop. So we have something like this. So we will use this for content class. And now we will define from this. This. Or if that doesn't work, so we will add here. So let's look for normal CSS instead of tailwind CSS if nothing works. CSS radial gradient. So we will look into WC school. They did green blue. So we will start with this. comma, hashtag Windows V, second thing, close. So we will see that this thing has started working and we are reloading the page. So now it's working and it has some radial looks. So we'll move this in center, align item in center. All those things we will done. Continue. We will continue from tomorrow. We have to stop it here. So we learned these things to make the routes, looking into routes. Now from tomorrow we will build more into components and work on each part. So let's check here what the time deadline we have fixed for. For a sidebar we have a deadline of, okay, we haven't added a deadline here. So let's say uh, we set a deadline as week and this for 3 days, not 20th June, 26th June. So this should be of till 24 and we will finish this by sidebar with 20th 6. Now this should we will finish by next month by, I guess, when was the due date of actual thing, 6th July. So we will finish this by 6th July. So it will take more time. So let's keep it 16 July and then change this to 16 July as well. And then we set the timeline for this and we will look into these things, track these things. I hope you have started learning building code with me. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.